I got tagged by Cutlery Novice. So before I even start this video, I will give you a link to his page here on YouTube. He's a young guy, but he really knows what he's talking about, and I'm often very impressed by watching his videos. I think he really has a passion for knives, and he does have quite a bit to offer, and he has some good insight on a lot of his videos. So if you want to watch some more knife people, definitely check him out, and like I said, link will be in the description below. So anyway, his tag was, what's your top 5 EDC blades? Now, of course, there's a lot of factors. This is not my all-time top 5 EDC knives. This is very specifically my top 5 current favorite EDC folders, because this excludes fixed blades, it excludes obviously neck knives, which I carry a lot now, multi-tools, anything of that nature. Plus, it also excludes all the awesome, amazing knives that I don't currently own and can show on film. So this is the 5 knives that I love the best out of the current ones that are available to me, if that makes any sense to you. So, starting on the right, we have the waived Spyderco Delica, just because I love this knife. If you notice, most of these knives are actually smaller. Although I'm a huge fan of big knives, it's not as practical for EDC use. And in fact, sometimes when you have a blade with a 5 or 6 inch, or 5 or 6 inch cutting edge, it's much more cumbersome than it is actually, useful. Oftentimes, in the past, when I've carried massive knives, I have my cold steel Voyager XL, which I love. I really, really love that one. But when I carry that thing, even when I go to open a box or something, I'm so far away from the box where the tip is, where I'm actually slicing, that I have less control. The closer you are, the more control you're gonna have, and the more precise of a cut you're gonna make. So although I like the big knife, I like the reassurance of having a huge blade on me for, impromptu self-defense weapon if need be. It's not as practical for EDC purposes. So something like this is definitely much more on par with that. Also weight. There's a lot of factors with any type of knife, what would make a good EDC for you. And it doesn't matter if you care about weight or not, the lighter the better. That will always be the case. You probably want to carry the lightest knife that takes care of all the cutting tasks you'll need it for. That's what's going to work best for you. Some people carry big, huge, heavy knives. They don't have a problem with it, but I'm sure even those people would prefer that same knife if it was lighter. Just depends on what you're using your knife for. But anyway, the first one there is the Spyderco. Actually, let me leave it like this. Clips up just so they lay flat. The waived version of the Spyderco Delica. Next one here is a Benchmade, and this is, of course, one of my favorites, the Sequel. I love this knife. It performs very, very well for me. I've reviewed this very positively in the past. The only downside to this knife is maybe just less grip than I prefer, but with that comes a smaller package in that it is lighter and it is easier to carry than bigger knives. But the only thing missing with this would be just a little bit longer of a handle. If I had a 4-finger grip handle on this, it'd be amazing. That's why a lot of people like the, say the 940, for example. It is a larger knife. It offers a similar type package as far as a folder. Materials are similar. You do get more blade, but overall feel of a lot of the Benchmades are kind of aluminum, thin. I mean, that's very broad, at least from the Benchmades that I've owned in the past. But I think both of those models are fantastic, and a lot of people do carry those because they are so good for EDC tasks. So you'll also notice that all these knives are positioned for tip up right hand carry only, except for the Spyderco waived Delica, and that's because I have it for left hand carry tip up, and that is simply for the fact that I do wave this out of my pocket on the inside of my pocket. All right, so when I carry this, as opposed to any other knife on the table here, instead of having it on the right side of my pocket by the seam, I'll actually carry this on the inside of my pocket in the seam, so I'll pull it up and wave it that way. Just what I've preferred since I've had it positioned like this. I had it there for testing purposes and I loved it. It was awesome, so that's why I still have it like that. So anyway, moving on. The next one, which has not yet been reviewed but will be reviewed very soon. This is the Max Edition knife, the new Excelsis. This is the large version. I do have the small one as well. I do prefer the large one for EDC. It gives me all the grip that I want. It gives me a great feel. The titanium will be colder in the upcoming winter months. I realize that. That's one thing about synthetics. Zytels and G10s and everything else, the micarta scales, they will offer more comfort in cold weather. When you have an all metal frame like this, the aluminum on this, the Sequel, as well as the titanium here, they will have a colder feel. It will hold in that cold. Just something to consider as far as EDC purposes. Most people don't talk about that kind of thing when they're considering what knife may be good for them. If you live in a very cold climate and you don't often wear gloves, you might not want to hold a knife that's going to be very cold to handle. But anyway, I will review this very soon. I do love this knife. One downside with this one is that thumb stud. Not a huge fan of it. Although functional, although I'm used to it when I first got it, I really did not like it. So we'll talk about that in the review. But anyway, I'll leave that open. Next one is the current generation of the cold steel Voyager. This is the medium. Two things I don't like about this one. As far as the handle design, I get a decent grip on it. At least they flatten this out, considering that someone's pinky might be landing there, or most people's pinkies anyway. You might just suggest getting a bigger one, but I do like the weight on this and the smaller blade for EDC purposes. Also, like every other cold steel knife I've ever had, I hate the pocket clip. I hate how it carries. I hate how it's way too aggressive in the pocket, so it's hard to retract. But besides that, this thing is hard to beat. This is a huge beater knife. I feel more confident using this, roughly, than probably any of the knives on the table. It's just a really hard to use knife, in my opinion. I have used it really, really hard, and I have not had any problems with it. So I do like this knife. I am a cold steel fan. I'm not a fanboy, but I do like a lot of cold steel knives, and they usually do a lot of things right. I really wish someone else, whoever's designing their pocket clips, should probably trade jobs with someone else in the company. But besides that, they make a great product, and I have always loved their Voyager series. You guys know I have the XL, which it's fantastic. That's the old school one, but their new gen stuff I think is still really awesome. And the triad lock is extremely superior in locking the knife. If you really are someone who's just hell-bent on the best lock ever, the stuff Cold Steel is coming out with, or has been coming out with, has been really, really good. The triad lock is probably on the top 3 best, strongest, most reliable locking systems for folders ever. I can confidently say that, and I think it's a really good knife. And then, of course, lastly, by no surprise, I had to bring out the sheath because I love the sheath for it too. This is Vest Leatherworks. If you guys are ever interested, he's in Canada. I'm not sure if he still makes it. Got this some years back now, about 4 or 5 years, I think. But Canadian guy, and does fantastic work. And he's made a lot of these Sebenza sheaths. But anyway, I have the small, classic micarta inlaid Sebenza, which I do EDC occasionally. You can see it's not pristine, it's beat up, it's used, it's scuffed, and you know, I mean, I sharpened it twice since I've had it, but it works great for me. It's just a fantastic knife. It still is one of my favorite knives. And you see the proportion. This is an old school one, so the blade to handle ratio is very, very good. It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio. The lockup is fantastic on this. I mean, just does not budge at all. It's not sticky or anything. Nice and sharp, stays sharp. I strap it all the time. It's just one of the best folders ever. I always loved it since I've gotten it, and it's very, very hard for me to compare any knife to this knife and want to use the other knife. I want to use this the most, and honestly, if I had 2 of them, I'd probably EDC this every single day. The only thing that keeps me from EDCing this every single day is the fact that I do get different blades to review. If I wasn't reviewing knives anymore, this would be it. Every other knife I had, honestly, I'd probably sell them, and I would just have this, or I'd buy 2 or 3 more of these. So, you know, I can have them in different places. Keep a backup in the car, you know, keep one in the house to use. It's just an amazing knife. Anyone who's ever wondered if it's worth the money, it is worth every single penny. I love Chris Reeve stuff. I know some of the Sebenzas, some of the generations had, I wouldn't say issues, but they weren't maybe as good as the old ones, but the warranty is fantastic with him, so if you ever had a problem, you can always get that resolved. But anyway, yeah, out of the knives that I currently own and currently possess, these are my top 5 EDC folder choices. So I love them. I think if you guys have any of these knives, or if you're thinking about getting any of these knives, I would highly recommend checking them out. Worst case scenario with any knife, if you don't like it, there's plenty of outlets to trade or sell it to get something new to figure out what you really need. But anyway, there you go. There's my 5 picks. I know tagging videos are supposed to tag other people, but I hate putting pressure on people to make videos. So as I always say, everyone watching's tagged. If you feel like you want to share your top 5 picks for your favorite EDCs or best EDCs, then by all means do so. And don't post a video response because YouTube no longer does that, which I think is stupid, but that's just me. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments on any of these knives, if you own any of these knives, let me know in the comments down below what you think of yours. And why don't you post as a comment your current favorite EDC? Even if you don't make a video, just the best knife that you have, your favorite knife that you currently have and you carry all the time. I'd love to see it. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care.